Call the meeting to order. Please join us in the flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Action on the minutes.
Motion to accept.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Vote. Adjustments to the agenda.
I have nothing, sir.
Public comments.
Joyce Ryan. I was at the transfer station the other day and I see they cut down trees. Lois suggested that last year and I see they're widening the road, which is great. But are they gonna pave it? I mean, what's happening? Is it just gonna be dirt? Does anybody know?
It's not a plan to pave it right now. We were just trying to get the trees cleaned up so we can, see better and so forth and get in there better, so.
Oh, okay.
Are you gonna take down the bigger ones?
Jim went down and took down the ones he thought were hazards and so forth, so I'd have to check with him if he plans on going back for more.
Well, I mean, I know it's gonna take a lot more effort to do the bigger ones, but that corner right there, just right there, as you come in, the first corner, his house is still there. Well, look at the trees, they're all got chunks taken out of them.
Yeah, he told me he was gonna go over and take care of it to clean it up some, but I did not ask him how extensive he planned on going.
I mean, it looks good, don't get me wrong, everything they've done.
I'll ask him.
Anything else?
Conrad, Staples Ave, Oxford. I was wondering if you guys, I know you guys have done it before, I know Jim and his crew have done it before. The intersection on Pleasant and the King, the elevation excavation work, you guys plan on eventually trying to cut that banker down some more? I'm one of many that have issues when you're traveling with trailers or stuff going from coming into the village, going up to King Street. You gotta be pretty much basically in the middle of the road to see down towards Perkville, down the old town hall. So I mean, you can't really see visual wise down through that way. And if you can't, what if we could throw up some arrows?
I agree.
That's gonna become a problem in the future as that continues to fill in. I have gotten a couple of complaints about that.
Where is that? Explain to me again.
Where you go over the bridge
By the rec
and like you're gonna turn onto King Street,
Yeah.
as that corner sweeps, it's filling in there with scrub and stuff. It's getting hard to see vehicles coming at you.
But
Honestly, the
isn't-
best visibility is at night when you can see their
The
headlights.
lights, yeah.
On the right side.
That's
Yes.
correct.
I'll mention it to Jim and I'll talk to him about it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm thinking is DOT is gonna be the one that.
Probably take at least a foot and a half, 2 feet down. Elevate it.
That little on the, yeah.
Anybody
I'm
else?
surprised.
Public comment? So, business items. 5.1 liquor license renewal, Oxbow Brewing Company LLC. So.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor? To vote. 5.2 liquor license renewal, Oxford Casino Hotel.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. All those in favor? Vote. 5.3 town office fee updates.
So the town clerk and I have been talking about two areas. I mean, we need to revisit all the fees, but these two stuck out. I just wanted to address those tonight. One is for notary fees. Currently we are not charging for notary fees at all. We were having a discussion about, there's an email attached going over this as well. We're not charging notary fees. Proposing non-residents would pay $5 for the first notary act and then $2 for each additional page requiring notary services. We're not looking at trying to charge residents for notary fees. That's something we're hoping the board would consider. Because we do get a fair number of folks that stop in to use our notary services, so, I think that would help with, some of the counter time that goes towards that. The second thing is the cemetery fees. Haven't raised the cemetery fees in regards to, the plots themselves for quite some time. Our current fee is $175 for a resident and $250 for a non-resident. And for reference sake, our neighbors are, $500 for $500, and then they break it up between cremation lots and regular burial lots, but $500 to $400. Get $550 for a plot in another town. Now, some of the smaller towns do charge a little bit less, but we have a significant number of cemeteries, that we have to take care of here. And the money that we receive for cemeteries goes back into that perpetual maintenance fund. So we'd really like to talk about maybe, I hate to use the word more in comparison to some of our neighbors. I think I had thrown out the thought of if we landed at like 400 for residents, 500 for non-residents, just to help us with some of that professional maintenance cost. So between the notary services and the cemetery fees, hoping that you guys would consider that.
Anything else? Discussion? So what did you say you're doing now?
For which part? The notary or?
Yeah.
Notary.
Nothing on the notary.
Nothing on the notary. We want to charge $5 to non-residents for the initial notary service, and then $2 for each additional page that they have done. So if they come in with a big document, then.
I don't believe anybody bother on that too much.
Do we have a notary, do we pay extra for whoever is the notary for the town? Do we pay extra for that? Is that like a
Like,
stipend?
no. So the town clerks, they need to get their notaries. They might not have the notary when they get hired here, but we expect them to get their notary. So the 3 people that work up front, I don't think for young 2 who don't have the notaries, right? They do?
It's just the new one.
The newest one.
Expand on
I mean, if they want more information, we can expect them. Yeah.
I mean, my 2 cents would be like $5 for every transaction, or like, I don't know, like if you're gonna do it, just do it now and set a price. And maybe it seems a little bit like a lot, but we're not gonna go up again for 50 years, so just do it. Go 5 and.
Motion for 5 and 50?
Do it. I just feel like the 2, just.
How many pages are you talking, like somebody would come in and get papers notarized?
So it's different. You have some people that will come in and they're looking for notarization just on 1 page. And then if they're legal documents, sometimes it's 3 or 4 pages. The reason I'm bringing this forward and talk to the town manager is that there are some surrounding towns that do charge to have notary services. And some residents in those towns know that we do not. So the town pays for, our current deputy, the town is paid for that notary license for that individual. So it's taxpayers that have put forth that money. That's why we don't want to charge taxpayers and provide that service to them as part of their residence here. But we don't want to get into the position where we're taking on folks outside the town. So looking for a simple fee, and what the town manager suggested is in line with some of the fees in the other surrounding towns that do charge.
What would you say the percentage of non-residents are that you guys are doing notarizations for? Is it 50%?
I don't know,
of people?
because we haven't tracked other than, yeah, I'd have to go through our books. I know we did missing books for one notary the previous fiscal year, almost 300 notarial acts. So.
So is it 5 or is it? What's everybody comfortable with? You want to try?
What, $5 fee?
That's what they recommend, and it's comfortable, then.
Or 5, I mean, $5, I wasn't saying flat rate, I'm saying 5 per page. Let's do it.
I like his idea.
$25, I mean, at the end of the day, you're like, with what's $5, you know, like. That's my 2 cents.
Is it a motion?
Make a motion to change, to charge $5 per document.
Per document or per notarial act.
Per notarial act.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Say that 5 times fast.
Motion. Second? Ford, second?
I'll second.
Ford, second. Oh, thank you very much.
You thought I already did?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So,
Was that a hand up for you or?
No,
An F?
I didn't put it up at all.
I didn't think you did, so, okay.
Do I have to?
Either that or you state that you're abstaining.
I'll say no.
Okay.
So it's 4-1.
cemetery fees.
So the recommendation is, for thought here is 400 for residents, 500 non-residents.
And what are we charging now?
We are charging 175 for resident, 250 for non-resident. Our neighbors are charging 500, pretty much universally.
I think it's a huge expense here. Taking care of the cemetery is a huge expense. Jim was in here the last meeting and they're spending almost 3 days a week cutting grass. And I would suspect a day and a half to 2 of that is probably cemetery. So again, you know, we need to take care of them and we need to provide space. I do agree with that, but I think 400 is more than fair. 400, 500.
People are concerned about the cost. We certainly could maybe make this effective January 1 or something, so people, I don't know if that's something we would want to do or not to make it a little easier, but I don't know how much of a concern it is, I guess.
Is there something in the statute about, military personnel and lots?
So that's a military burial. So that would be handled differently, and if they're at their veteran cemeteries. So if they're in a public cemetery, then one, you are mandated to maintain it, and then we have to put up their flags.
Correct.
Yeah.
Do veterans have to pay the lot fee as well?
So there's a different thing that spouses can go through to get help paying for that lot fee, but that's gonna be through the state and through the Department of Veterans Affairs.
But that's just for veterans.
Yeah.
I mean, Scott, would you be opposed to discounting it for veterans? Is that-
I would just, if there wasn't any program for that, I would make the motion to.
I think the town clerk had a couple more things to add, might be helpful.
So, and you pointed out mowing, it's not just mowing, it's maintaining the entire cemetery, the trees, the fencing, if you've been through some of the places that we have, some of the fencing needs to be repaired. But then we also have, it's your filing of your deeds, as every cemetery plot is treated just like a piece of property, and it's a deed filing and making sure that that's up to date. And we have a software program that started with the previous clerk, Elizabeth, that is a great program and just has been underutilized, and not only better at tracking the records, which is important to make sure we know where folks are and we don't have mishaps when we're trying to sell the lots, but also is more user-friendly for the public if they are searching anything historical, genealogical, or want to take a look and see what lots might be available. And as far as the starting date, I only have one request right now for a plot, and to me, the agreement was done before talking about this, so that one would be at the original price that we have. I wouldn't then change the price on the individual.
How much
If we
fund,
make it in that.
how much money did this fund generate last year?
Not much. And one thing that I left out too is the stone cleaning. They're looking at having stone cleaning and repairs. And I believe the quote that we got for cleaning and curb Cleaning, I don't even think it was stone repair, right?
No, it was just cleaning.
Um, And only for Riverside,
Correct.
so do you have that? That is 18.
I don't have it in front of me, I'm sorry.
And it was thousands of
Yeah.
dollars, several thousands of dollars for one cemetery, and that was not even doing the repair.
But do some of those cemeteries take care of their own mowing?
No,
None of them do now.
all the ones that we're responsible for, we have to mow.
And
There's
we-
some in town that we're not responsible for. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some that we're not responsible for.
The only one I know of actually is the Caldwell Cemetery, that is still a private cemetery. All the other ones have become public and we're responsible for mowing them.
Because we just took on the one up on 4th Street, right?
Yep.
And your previous discussions, you talked about stone cleaning and having the highway do that. So I'm talking to individual that's what they do. You have to be careful on how you clean some of the granite stones, as if the granite stones, they're high gloss. If you clean them with the wrong solution, you're going to make them matte finished, and they will no longer have that high gloss. So you've ruined the stone, and then we would be responsible for replacement.
What about Samro Hill? Is that the town's? It is, I thought for some reason that was private. I thought that was the Caldwell.
So it used to be long ago, when I used to mow cemeteries, but the town, I believe, is taking over mowing that cemetery as well. I'll verify with the secretary for that, organization, but I think we mow that cemetery now.
Further discussion?
Can I ask a question? Don't we still put money in the town warrant, I mean, isn't there a cemetery fund that we,
We do. $5,000, memory serves correct.
would it be better to increase that and spread it amongst everybody? Rather than not go quite as high on, don't we have to bury a person if they don't have the money to be buried? Doesn't the state make us do that? Used to.
There's different programs that you can go through. And the individual can go through, the individual who is responsible for, whether it's their family member. Yeah, there's different programs.
We still bury them down there.
One of them's a town program, it's just an application process, and then it would go through the board.
And I know that I think from my perspective, I understand where you're coming from. I think it's, the town's, cemeteries are the town's responsibility to maintain and so forth, but at the same time, to be very blunt about it, it's a service for a single individual, so I mean, it seems like this would be something that, it seems appropriate, I guess. to me.
Pay as you go.
It's referred to as perpetual care.
It's obviously not fun, right? It's not fun to charge for this, but.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be cold either.
Right, at the end of the day, it, like Kathleen's saying, it's a pretty big ticket item to take care of them. Because I've done a lot of work at the Caldwell, and it is a lot of work, and you start getting into cleaning and taking care of them properly, it's.
How are we as far as knowing who's where and all that? Because I remember a few years back when we weren't very good there. Are we in good shape with that now?
It is an ongoing project.
I think,
Not a very good answer.
no, I think we've gotten a lot, I mean, in all seriousness, I think we've gotten a lot better than where we were before. We're getting a
I
lot
hope so.
more organized. And I think one of the things that we've been discussing is that, upgrading that software that Kathleen was talking about earlier, making sure that it's more interactive so that if somebody wants to go online and they want to find where certain people are placed, they can do that a little more easily. Which in doing that will also free up the clerk's time from having to answer those questions. No different than when we put our assessing information online, people can go and self-serve. So I mean, these are all positive things.
We're getting better. Elizabeth had, so Riverview was the first one that we've had, blanking on the word,
Surveyed.
surveyed.
Yeah, we had it
surveyed. Yeah, so hired somebody to go out and survey it. So we have, working on getting the final map on that, but then we can cross that over with the software that frankly, to be honest, hadn't been used and updated since Elizabeth was using it. So now getting all of that information in there, that's gonna help making sure that we have everything correct.
Just so I'm clear, there is a program if somebody could not afford to bury somebody that they could petition the town for an exemption?
Do we have any current reserve currently right now?
It's kind of hard if you're dead.
For the cemeteries?
Yeah.
Yep.
Whoever's responsible, right? I make a motion to change the fees from 175 resident and 250 non-resident to 400 resident and 500 non-resident.
Have a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
Discussion.
You say 10?
It's, right now, yeah, there's, 9,000
That's what's in the reserve,
for the cemetery, yeah.
and that won't even pay to do one cemetery for cleaning and.
Especially if it's repaired. The stones tipped over and stuff.
Any other discussion? All those,
Can you repeat that again for me? Motion? Just as-
Motion to change the fees from 175 resident to 400, from 250 non-resident to 500 non-resident. Per town manager's recommendation.
all in favor? Let's vote.
See what I did there, Adam?
I did. Did you notice the smirk?
Business item 5.4, Special Olympics request. Pam Lovely is here.
So, yeah, did you want to maybe give them a rundown what you're looking for? They've got it in their packets, but maybe hearing it from you would be good.
Sure. So, Special Olympics, I've been treasurer of them forever and a day. We don't really have a home anywhere. There's different programs, Progress Center, Momentum, different places like that. But there's a lot of activity that we do. And we have winter games, we have summer games, we have all kinds of different things, which we have equipment for all of that stuff. So we have skis, sit ski, podium for them to get up and get their medals, all kinds of stuff. And right now, it's kind of spread all over Oxford County. It's whoever will take this and whoever will take that. And we're looking to try to get it all in one place because as we all get older, the ones that we knew would pay attention to where they were and keep them are starting to retire. You don't know what's coming up and all of a sudden things are missing. So we were talking about purchasing a storage building. It wouldn't be any bigger than a 12 by 12. But we obviously have to have a place to put it because we have nothing. So I'm just coming to you guys to see if there would be a place somewhere here in Oxford that we could put this building. We've obviously got to be able to get into it in the winter, because at first I thought maybe somewhere on Potter Road, but that doesn't get plowed. So we need to be able to put it somewhere where we could get to it. There'd be 2 or 3 of us probably that would be getting it into it periodically for different events. And so I'm just asking, with all of our property everywhere, there might be a spot that we could put this building. Again, no bigger than a 12 by 12, but.
You know anything about a spot? I mean, I think, as I shared with her, maybe the rec center. I mean, that's a place that there's people going in and out of.
I say there's no room down there for anything anyway, and to add one more thing, I don't think that's a good idea at all.
What about where the old garage was?
But I'm not.
At the rec center, the old garage was?
Platform, I think.
Well, they use that.
Sure.
Parking is not good there.
Probably too close to the water now.
I don't remember either.
To be honest
They
with you.
used to be paved.
I mean, I didn't know where the big sand pile is, for instance, on Route 26. Used to be a house there, I don't know what's used in that area, but could that be a spot? Or
Because then
somewhere on this piece of property, or, I don't know where. month, 3 or 4 days out, and then that. But I just personally don't think the rec center taking more space away from here is a good idea. Obviously, it's your choice, but.
I was just, I mentioned to Scott, we were starting, and, I can't remember, over at the transfer station, outside of the gate, you know where Ed has those clothing donation bins? Is there enough space right there that a 12 by 12 could go?
On either side of the fence, really, I don't know what's over on the other side, but that would be a perfect little spot, so.
Because I'm thinking if it was outside the fence, you could get to it whenever you needed to, you wouldn't have to,
Yep.
ask permission to get in there, kind of a deal. If it was
Right.
outside.
So our line isn't where the fence is?
Oh, I'm not 100% sure as I speak of that, so that's why I didn't know. And you recollected that,
What about where we used to put those winter sand? Do we still put winter sand down there? They down there in the winter. Forever.
You know,
No, it's usually out.
Remember the winter sand used to be before you pull in on the right?
It's down in front of the highway department, because a lot of out of towners would end up going down there at night, just stopping up.
That's just awful down
What's that, it used to be in front of the transfer station?
Yeah, right before you pull into the gate to the right, there used to be a spot where winter sand was. So right
Well, that's what I was asking, how much do we own? I always thought that, I don't, I
I
get
believe
it,
if we've used it that long, it must be ours.
I guess, could be.
You know, forgiveness and permission.
So the only, if we do find a place that seems agreeable, the only thing that, and you had mentioned this in your letter, is that you would provide insurance on that shed. I would ask that, the insurance does name the town as insured as well, so that if somebody's doing activities there, it's not the town that's liable.
Sure.
I make the motion that, that between Pam and you, if you find a suitable spot in the lot that we have, that we'd be okay with putting it there.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Other discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Vote.
We'll communicate.
5.5 town office propane tank replacement discussion.
All right, so as we went through the budget process last year, I'm sure the board remembers that, our propane costs are a little bit more expensive for this building than the rest of the town by a lot. So during that discussion, it was a little bit too late in the game to change direction with the budget and try and incorporate, replacing the tanks here. The long story short is the current tanks are owned by AmeriGas, which means that we have to buy gas from AmeriGas. So if we want to be able to buy our own gas from any vendor that we want, we need to own the tanks. Reached out to C.M. Brown, who is the one that was awarded our propane fuel bid for this year, and I asked them to give us a quote on selling us 2 1,000-gallon tanks, which is exactly what's in the ground, but putting them above ground and installing them and getting us squared away so that we can use those. So they gave us a quote of $11,626 to sell and install 2 above-ground 1,000-gallon propane tanks. The only caveat to that is that the highway department would have to do, and I've talked to Jim about this already, do the prep work, remove the grass, level it, put some crushed stone down as directed by the installers, and then they would do the rest. I guess they have these like propane footing, cement footing, that they put in for those big tanks that they'll put it in, level off and so forth, but they'll take care of that piece, they said. So what I'm asking the board is one of two things. Either A, I will put this in the next budget cycle and put it in the next budget proposal and it'll just go through the process like everything else. Or is this something that we feel is important enough to do now and maybe look to the town office / town building reserve account, which has about $40,000 in it. Do we want to turn to that for this $11,000 and just go ahead and move forward with this now?
What are we paying for propane now, under the present agreement? I know C.M. Brown gave you better, what's the difference in it?
I think AmeriGas was all the way up to like $3.10 a gallon. And can you remember, Beth? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
Sneak in 162, but.
Yeah, it's under $2.
And how many gallons do we use in a year?
A significant amount. I'm sorry, Floyd, I should have had that right in front of me and I don't. If you wanna give me a minute, I can certainly look it up.
Well, I mean, you could give a guesstimate.
I think we were using a significant amount of propane. I actually feel like I can find that pretty quick, so I don't have to speak. If you don't mind.
More than three
As
times.
do I. Thought it was like three.
That estimate, yeah, that should be here on that bid sheet or in that finance budget sheet. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could walk in the other room and go grab my budget booklet. I think it will,
Well, it just seems like it would almost make sense to.
Yeah, you just
We're
signed
going
to
with
it, yeah, it
We're
was
gonna go
about
in that direction.
3,600.
Yeah, and it's
So-
for like 1,000 gallons.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, it's like 360, yeah.
Yeah.
But we had the, how much we
At
used
least.
last year.
well, I think you would find.
So like less than a 2-year return?
Yeah.
What are we doing with the old tanks?
Well, that's
They
my-
take them back, they own, we don't own
Alright, so here at the town office, propane. I just brought up the budget sheet, so I'm scrolling. Propane, it was 3,900 gallons at $3.04 a gallon. So we spend about $11,900 a year in propane. And then if we look at, where's another place that would use?
Transfer.
Z.
So if it's a bucket gallon, it's $3,900.
So I think the payout's there.
So another, wastewater is another one that uses, they use the most propane. And it's $1.69, so you were right on spot on, $1.69 a gallon.
I make a motion, we take the money out of the reserve account, do it now.
Motion,
Second?
second by Mr. Richardson, discussion.
Did we purchase the tanks ourselves? And the only reason why I ask that is that should next year John Smith's propane company comes in and
Yeah, but he's buying these tanks.
Yeah, we own them.
We're gonna own these ones he's talking about.
Yeah, we would own these ones.
CM Brown was gonna hook it up, but
okay.
They're just the vendor that's selling it to us.
Okay, as
So
long as we own them afterwards.
Phil started the question on the tanks that are in the ground. We don't own them. Are we responsible for getting them out of the ground for them?
No.
Are they responsible for getting them out of the ground? If they opt to say, we don't want them, then are we responsible for having to take them out?
We reached out to AmeriGas the other day, and we have not heard back. So we're digging through the contracts and so forth, and so I have a sneaky suspicion that given the age of the tanks and the contract that we had, that we're going to end up being responsible for part or some of the removal, but they are their tanks.
So what's wrong with those tanks?
They're 30 years old almost, so the concern with those tanks is that we did ask for a buyout from them, and it actually wasn't far off from this number, if I remember correctly. So it didn't make a lot of sense to me.
I talked to Brian Penny and he said it's the life expectancy on those is 35 years.
Hopefully they'll take them out, but I'm afraid you're right. They're not gonna.
But they will. Yeah.
I didn't know we were gonna do.
We could research that. I mean, that's
I can come back with an answer for you.
one, you're gonna wanna empty them.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things we asked, AmeriGas, is we want to see if we can get a credit for the fields in there for us.
I think by law they have to. I mean, I've changed propane tanks in New Hampshire and they gave me back my money, picked up that tank.
Something food for thought to find out. But any other discussion?
Do we want that answer before we make a decision, though?
I will do it.
I think we
And it
can,
doesn't.
we're ready to vote on this and then find out if something changes drastically. We can wait on this a little bit, but. All those in favor? Let's vote. 5-6, reappointment of planning board members.
Make a motion to appoint Alan and Edward Adams.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor? Let's vote. Reappointment of appeals board member Brian Landis.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor? Let's vote. Department head report.
Alright, so Elizabeth and I are gonna tag team this one a little bit here, so I get some stuff to hand out. So we finally got our, I wanna reiterate this, we finally got our audit, what's that? Finally got our audit report for FY 23-24. So usually we get this significantly sooner than now, but, so we got so this is for the fiscal year that ended June 30th, 2024. So I was gonna just kind of run through a couple of the highlights and then maybe folks can take it and chew on it if you want, and then come back with questions and stuff. But, one of the things you're gonna see in the front that I said in there is the auditor provides what's called a management letter. And they go over they go over points that they feel like that we need to make improvements on, for instance. So I'll hit on those real quick. One of the things that they mentioned is old outstanding checks. They feel that we need to do better during this cycle with clearing outstanding checks and making sure those are cleared out and off the books. So this is something prior to this audit being completed with the changes in the finance that we've already addressed. So this has already been addressed as far as making sure those outstanding checks are taken care of. You get past the 90 days, that things are getting sent to unclaimed property when they need to be and that kind of stuff. So accounts payable invoices, they also hit on, providing supporting documentation that was missing and that kind of stuff. Again, this is another one of those things that with the changes in finance that we're able to put the resources behind that to make sure this is happening. Department heads are having to ensure they're providing the necessary documentation, even more so. So we are addressing that as well. I dare say that's been being addressed for the last 2 years. Tax increment financing, the auditors brought up that, again, that the town needs to make sure we're following all the records retention and all those kind of things with the tax increment financing. One of the things that actually happened during this audit year is we changed assessors, and we've also now since changed finance. So now we have people in place that have a much better understanding of the tax increment financing, what records are needed, and how those things are calculated. We were doing the best we could before, and I think we were doing fine, but now we have folks in place that are more knowledgeable, which is also addressing this and taking care of that. Sewer deficit, he brings this up every year, and that is the fact that the sewer department doesn't make any money. So in fact, the sewer department loses money every year. So right now, the way that we are running a sewer department is as an enterprise fund, and in a nutshell, in the world of municipalities, enterprise funds is kind of like a business, if you will. The municipality running a business. So with normal departments, everything else is run as a town department. It'll have revenues and expenses, but there's not that it's like the transfer station. We don't have the expectation that the transfer station is going to make enough money to 100% pay for itself. That's not the way we look at it. We don't expect the police department to make enough money to pay for itself. So what we're talking to with the auditor and have been now for probably the last few months is handling the sewer department more like we handle the rest of the municipal departments and so forth. So we'll do the best we can to look at those fees, and those are the fees that you guys are going to be seeing coming up shortly. And that is we cannot raise the fees enough to, well, we could, but to realistically raise the fees so that we're paying the debt service of $800-something thousand a year and all the expenses. We cannot raise the fees and we don't have enough users. Over the last couple of years, we've done a lot to get more users, significantly more users compared to what we did before, but we're just not gonna get there. So we're gonna propose some fees here coming up shortly to hopefully help bridge the gap. But that's a problem that has existed for a while. We'll do our best, but that's where we're gonna be coming from. So the things that he's mentioned are all being addressed, which I think was kind of nice to see that. So when I look at a couple things I would want to throw at you is page 41, I think it is. 41 has some interesting information on there. Talks about the departments that were over that fiscal year. Keep in mind that Article 27 of the town meeting warrant allows us to be over on some of those years. There were some different things that happened that year that caused some overages. Also, it gives us the balance of the fund balance policy reserve. Also, Fund 701 is what it's known as, what it was at that time.
Say that again, Fund 701 is what?
The fund balance policy account, which is that reserve account. Yep. So that gives us what the balance of that reserve account was at that time, as of June 30, 2024. And then another piece that I look at, I find interesting is that, and I think even one of you guys mentioned just how much revenue did we collect. So on page 60, that's another good report to look at that tells you the revenues. Like for instance, property taxes that we budgeted for 7 million, and we 7.1 million, let's call it, and then that we actually received 6.9 million. So it was we were $144,000 short that year in what we projected to collect for property taxes. Also, I'm trying to see, I think it's page 60. Page 68 is another one that's a good one to look at. It also talks to the property taxes, but it also mentions about casino revenues. That year we took in $2.1 million in casino revenues. Obviously, that's a huge portion of our other revenues that are offsetting. Also speaks to transfer station recycling revenues, which I know have been of interest recently. It also speaks to our rescue revenues as well. So that's another, revenue-wise, I think a good report. So overall, I think Elizabeth and I put a lot of work into, when we made the changes in finance, we put a lot of work into making sure that what was in the 22-23 audit, making sure that jived, and then with the 23-24 audit and working with the auditor. I mean, there's a lot of time that went into this to get us caught up. So now we're actually in very good shape, because now as we go into the 24-25 audit, which is starting shortly, we provided them with all the information. We're hoping to have that back well before July of the following year. So,
What was the reason for coming in late this year?
Well, he's doing the best he can with keeping caught up with his customers. So, and also we had our changes in the finance department. So I think if you combine all that together, it brought us to where the delay would be. So then I've also got we can take one and pass it down. Taking this stuff, I think there's 5. So I'm gonna cheat. I'll start on the second page of this little handout. Is there enough? On the second page. So this is the 24-25 end of the year. There may be a couple of stragglers for some invoices, that might come in for, that need to be paid out of last year. But this tells you where all the departments landed as far as their percentage spent and which ones went over. It also tells you the percentage total. So town-wide, we spent 102%. So we were 2.9% over our projected budget or town meeting budget, which is $17,000 more. Your big tickets, we had, let's see here, the public safety building had some significant issues that came up that needed to be addressed. That was part of it. Your transfer station is a little bit over, and that was that was given, the bulk of and the cost of some of the materials to dispose of.
The demo.
The demo, thank you.
Yeah.
So, those are your two bigger ones. Sewer department also had some repairs that came up and so forth that were expensive. So, all in all, I'll be frank, I actually feel really good about that. So, I think we did fairly good last year. As far as the revenue goes, we projected, we budgeted to total, we projected revenue of 2 million. We actually brought in 2.6. That is excluding the casino revenue. So we brought in a little bit more than expected. The sewer department, they brought in 242,000 casino revenue. Squeaked, we projected to count it on 2 million. We brought in $2,009,000. So we squeaked over the line on that. Property taxes, we did bring in our property taxes that we projected. So overall, it's personal property and real estate. So I think overall, I feel pretty good about that. And then if I flip to the top page, this is where we are currently. So at the top of the page, you've got, these are our operating, our expense accounts, our departments are up at the top. And then you've got our revenues. Obviously, these numbers are small at this point because we're just getting started. Now, we broke it down with revenue, general revenue, but casino revenue and taxes for personal property and real estate. If the board has other revenue sources that they would like seen on here to see every week, or every report, we'll add those. But from my perspective, those are the kind of the three that struck me that are most of interest, I guess. The other thing that we put on here too is the bank balance, and this is when we reconcile the checkbook. Now, keep in mind, we're not, we've got June on here as being reconciled, but that's because we're working on July. So it's
Yeah, the statements have just come in, so.
For July.
For
Right.
July, so,
it's not
it's not
uncommon.
completed yet.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for us to be a month or two behind on reconciling the checkbook.
Yeah.
Hopefully just a month, but.
Usually I try to be within the first 15.
And then when we talked about those reserve accounts, so like Ernie, when you asked me what we had in the cemetery fund, I looked down here when Fund 7 capital projects, and it tells you what the available balance is. It tells you what the total balance is, what's encumbered at this point, i.e. what's been obligated to something else, and then what the available balances are. And then lastly, down at the bottom, we have the recreation fund and what the available balance is for that. So now keep in mind the recreation fund is everything in, summer rec, sports programs, all that stuff. There's also I get asked about rec a lot, so I also just point out the fact that there's also a recreation reserve that's up above too. So.
And the reserves come in when they're voted on it. It's money specific, voted on at town meeting. So that's what's dropping into those reserve accounts, other than the fund balance policy.
So like the $11,000 that the board transferred from the fund balance policy account into the rec, that's illustrated down.
At the recreational
Yep.
fund, but not in the reserve. The reserve was the 9,500 that was voted on at town meeting.
So I know I just threw a lot of stuff at you, but I figured I'd share that. Usually the auditor will come and go over a lot of this stuff, and next year I'd like him to do that. But just how late in the game we were with this, and he's really busy right now, and I just wanted to get this to you as soon as we done it. So, but you guys are welcome to ask me questions. I'll do my best, or we can come back with more another time.
I get it time to digest it.
Makes sense to me.
Well, I think the overall, bottom line numbers is your expenses went over $17,000, the whole town's budget. Which is, I don't know what the percentage was on the town budget, but pretty small. And your revenues were $686,000 above what was expected, so. Looks like a big plus to me.
Yeah, but you could spell that another way and say, if we didn't receive more than we expected, then we would have spent a lot more than what came in. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it worked out, right? But fortunately, we took in more than we expected, so it worked out in our favor. If we had spent as much as we spent, we didn't receive extra, we would have been running a bigger deficit. So
Overall, 17,000 is not bad.
damn good.
Okay.
Hopefully we overperform every time.
Now, settle down. Reality will set in here in a minute.
I think, as far as the finance department goes, between Elizabeth and Heather, I think we've come a long ways in these last few months. We've really been digging a lot into things and getting a lot of processes narrowed down. I mean, even as far as looking at the Fund 7, accounts on this spreadsheet, you see all that detail. I mean, that's something that we were struggling to have that level of detail. We can go in and say, we can open up those accounts and we can look in Excel and we can tell you, we can give you a lot more detail than we could before. Things are in a much better place. So.
Can you take a minute and explain Fund 7? So that is for lack of a better word, a savings account?
It's the reserve account.
Yeah.
So, all of 2 through 46 that you're looking at are all reserves. So something that either the Board of Selectmen have transferred over for a purpose or the town has voted on for a purpose. So the town votes on a piece of police equipment. Ricky goes and buys that piece of, we put the money in, Ricky buys it, we take it out. That's where that is. The fund balance policy is a wee bit different, and I would probably point to the policy that we have. I think you folks have had the policy of where to be fiscally responsible, we want to make sure that we're keeping a certain amount of monies to be able to not have to take out a TAN, we don't want to have to go borrow from the bank to pay our bills, right? So there's a policy that states we want to stay and keep a certain amount of money, and anything over that money should be put into a reserve account. So we'll keep this amount, but we'll put the rest of it into a reserve account, and then from there, decide how that extra money should be spent, so we're not overtaxing for things, right? For things that need to be purchased but it's be able to watch it, because sometimes you can put too much in or you get too low. Mostly the fund balance policy in most towns is you're getting too low and you're gonna have to go to the bank and borrow money to keep going. Thankfully, in this town, we don't have that.
We have enough cash flow that we're able to, and what she was saying, TANs, those are tax anticipation notes, the counties had to do that, I believe, other towns have had to do that.
We used to do it.
You did, yeah. I mean, and so the whole gist of that is that your cash flow from your major revenue, which is your taxes, comes long after the bills are due. So thankfully, we don't have that problem here, so.
But I used to have a town meetings in March. You borrow money every year to pay the bills. The other one will come in and your budget's going to figure it out later. We don't do that anymore.
Any other questions?
Is there anything else you folks would like to see on your expense summary on a monthly basis? Are there any revenues or expenses that you want to be seeing?
Can I get back to you on that?
Absolutely,
Put a
anytime.
lot to it.
And anytime if you just have a question, please come to my office and we'll give you.
Yeah. Town managers report, or is that part of it?
No, so the town manager's report, I just wanted a few things I wanted to mention. At the request of TLEA, I heard from Jim Hughes and Brian Bond. They asked if we could have a meeting and just talk about the status of the dam, the Thompson Lake Dam, and the status of the relationship between the town and TLEA. So we met on the 18th. I think it was a good discussion. I gave them a quick synopsis of, different things that are going on there as far as, we got the fish gate installed on the center screen. We're working with the engineer on getting costs for the replacement of the retaining wall, those kind of things. So I think overall it was positive. There was I think it was positive. So then also, conveniently enough, or by coincidence, I also was contacted by the Hogan Whitney Pond Association, and Bruce Wilson, Norm David, and Tom Donovan. They asked if they could meet, same kind of deal, talk about the status of the Welchville Dam and the grade control system that we had installed. So we met on the 24th. Again, it was a good discussion. I also met with Dave Cloutier, who is the engineer that we use and are using for the Welchville Dam project, the grade controls. And so they're performing, they're underperforming by some. And when he and I actually went and did a site visit and looked at them, you can see there's a couple of places that probably things have just settled out a little bit. And he also feels that some adjustments needed to be made by the contractor. So he's reached out to the contractor, and today, actually, the contractor went out there with him to make these adjustments to the grade controls to make sure they're in the specs that were of the design. And he's supposed to let me know tomorrow how that whole thing went. So overall, those kind of things are some of the stuff going on in the background. I think it's all very positive. The grade controls, when you look at them, I say they're underperforming, but that's just because the water levels look, a couple inches lower than anticipated. But overall, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. I was really skeptical about the whole grade controls, but when you're standing there and you're looking at them, you can see exactly how they're supposed to work, and it's kind of fascinating. So the Hogan Whitney Pond Association asked, does that mean we can remove the dam now? And I just reminded them that we have a 3-year water monitoring, period that we're supposed to do, and then make decisions from there. So overall, I think it's good. So that's what I've got for you.
Selectmen items.
That's kind of an unusual first step and he had acquired some tax acquired property, because we give him a quick claim deed.
Mm-hmm.
And he's had it a few years, and someone wanted to buy it, and no one had ever come after him before or anything else, but there was a pretty good lien against it.
Okay.
And part of the deal with quick claim deed is that you don't always, it's not like the same with, yeah. But seems though there would have been something, I know town trumps them on being first in line for any money.
Mm-hmm.
But when that comes up like that, I'm gonna figure the bank would end it back up with it.
So when
I'm just trying to figure it out. You come ask me a whole lot of questions I didn't have good answers for.
Yeah, when we sell something with a quick claim deed because we foreclosed on it, we are selling the town, what the town has for rights to that property, which is what we gain through the foreclosure process. That's what we're releasing and selling. So if there are other liens and there are other business that's associated with that deed, that's.
Owner beware, I get
Owner
it.
beware. Yeah.
He gets it, but it's just curious how it would go by for, I don't know, he said 8 years and nothing, and then when he come around to selling it, they did it. I guess that's just the chance you take.
It is, yeah, and that's why if you're gonna buy a piece of property as a foreclosure, you need to do title work.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, I understand it.
Sorry to be blunt about it, but.
No, I understand it.
Anything else? We didn't talk about we met with the road engineer.
That's, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it went good. And I noticed Jim went out and marked a bunch of culverts, at least over in our neighborhood, and looks like we'll be getting bids out when
He's gonna try and have those ready for this fall. We'll have to get those out. This is for the $3 million road bond piece, and not what we're currently doing on Rabbit Valley. And on Rabbit Valley, what we're currently doing is moving right along, so that's good. They've got a lot of the drainage in already, but as far as the $3 million road bond, yeah, we met with the engineer. kind of prioritize the roads and so forth. And Jim had to go out and look at condition of culverts, mark them. Hopefully we'll be getting, kind of bids together so that this fall, winter, we can get them out.
It would go out as asphalt, paving is one bid, and maybe ditch and cross pipes, culvert pipes is the second bid.
Mm-hmm.
And then any box culverts would be
Separate.
would be a separate bid as well. It looks like over on number 6 road, I looked at it today, there's a pretty good significant size culvert over there. Just over the railroad track, on the other side by the end of the airport, actually across from you. So yeah, you have that one, and there's a couple other big pipes.
There's a couple other big pipes, but Jim thought they were in good enough shape and he was, good shape to leave them. So he was gonna go and check them with Rob Brew, the engineer. So they're gonna set up a time for them to go take a ride together and go look at the conditions of those pipes, so. 'Cause one of the things that he commented on is if the pipe is in good shape and we're shimming and overlaying it, it makes sense to just shim and overlay and not break into it, break into it and get into the pipe, so. I think overall, I mean, we're moving forward.
Sounded like we'd be pretty close on the numbers, depending on how the culvert stuff comes in.
Yeah, I think that if we get a couple extra box culverts that have to go in, and then we can't find grant funding for them, yeah, we're gonna be pretty close to the 3 million. But as we talked about before, I mean, we have a laundry list of roads, but if the beginning roads end up being more expensive, then we can drop off a few of the, lower volume roads at the, the bottom of this, so. I think we'll revisit that part of it when we get the bids back. So he also talked about doing them, like we just had said, about doing them in phases too, so. So it was a good conversation. Moving forward.
Anything else? Nope. Sign warrants.
Here's the appointments for the 3 individuals. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a thing. We're calling.
Oh, yeah, I'll sit down.
Okay. So the other day, I just a little thing. My
Probably just finished. She doesn't know what to call it. She knows that.
Motion, we sign warrants 120 and 70 through 14.
Second. Motion, the second, discussion. All those in favor? 40. Executive session.
Motion to go to executive session for David contract discussion pursuant to MRSA Title 1, Chapter 13, Section 4056. D.
Second. Motion in the second. All in favor? Matt, Matt, she'll have that.
Yeah, well, it's electronic now, isn't